Hey folks, this is Bob Howe from Maine Knows How. Last month we had Randy Cross on talking to us about bears. I learned so much about bears I never even knew. And I've been hunting bears for 30 years. So this month we're having him back on again for part 2. Please join us.
Maine Knows How is made possible by you and by these community-minded sponsors. Modern Woodmen of America, a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. Together with our members, we've been touching lives and securing futures since 1883. True Enterprises, a local solar installation team with over a decade of experience delivering custom energy solutions across Maine. Sebasticook Valley Federal Credit Union, supporting our local community with valuable services, a friendly atmosphere, and caring employees. J.W. Parks Golf Course, a 9-hole facility with a full-service golf shop and driving range. Pine Grove Programs, supporting veterans, first responders, and law enforcement by providing free outdoor opportunities for those who serve and their families. Moosehead Trail Trading Post, offering quality hunting and fishing gear with expert advice for your budget and outdoor needs. And by Digital Spirit Media, delivering over 30 years of technical expertise in media and event production. Maine Knows How.
We had a cub born to a bear we call April up in northern Maine, 2003. This cub you could put, this is an 8-week-old cub, the end of March, maybe 9 weeks old. You could put this cub in a coffee cup where just his head was sticking out.
Wow.
And that's not much heavier than what they are when they're born.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a cub in that litter that was almost 5 pounds, which is sort of what we'd expect. It's normal. This cub weighed about 1.5 pounds or 1.25 pounds. I'm not sure where. Very, very small. Just mostly a big head.
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
skinny body. And, he had his hairs, his eyes were open, his ears were up. So, it wasn't young cubs. Some years cubs are born a little later or whatever. But anyway, this cub was so hungry, he was basically starving. And he was a male. And the big cub, the biggest cub was a female. There was an in-between one too. But so we would put the cub's crying a lot. The cub's not happy. Basically starving to death.
Sure.
He hadn't been happy for 8 weeks. But we put him on the mom, they'll stop crying. It's easier for us to hear the numbers when we're measuring. So put him on the mom, and he's looking for that faucet right away. He gets on a nipple. The problem is when cubs drink milk from the mom, they make a purring noise. And that purring noise is very distinctive. And as soon as he started purring, the big female, came running right across the mom and head-butted him right off the nipple. So clearly she wasn't going to allow him to drink, and she wasn't sharing. But that's the way nature is. That how that ever got started, I don't know. It's somehow early on, this one, the big female, became the dominant of. And so amongst that litter, there was a social status.
Interesting.
And it was a death sentence for that little male.
Were you able to walk up to these cubs?
Yeah, you got to sneak in. I mean, it'd be late March up in where we'd finish up in the Northwoods there. And sometimes snow will be noisy. But because the bears hadn't been hunted for as long up there as our other 2 study areas, they're a lot more tolerant of human presence.
Really?
Yeah. There's a big difference. Actually, in Bradford study area, we call it Bradford study area, up in Howland, the bears are way less jumpy than like Alton or South LaGrange. So just that distance, closer to Bangor, closer to Old Town, those bears closer to Old Town, they were getting, trapped for the bounty back in the 30s and the 40s, especially during the Depression. And boy, if they didn't avoid humans, they had to hire higher pressure, higher bar to pass, as far as human avoidance behavior. So they're way ahead when it comes to schooling, if you want to call it that,
Right.
in these northern bears. So it's a little easy to get up on them. There's a couple of things going on. The snow, even though it's late March, a lot of years the snow is 4 or 5 feet deep, and like in 2008, it was 8 feet deep when we're up there. So there really isn't any running. They can try,
can't
but
go any-
instead of running, they're swimming a
Yeah.
lot of times. But if there's a crust, they can get on it. But we're talking about open nests. Well, up there, they tend to go into cavities. And I believe I don't think it's a temperature thing. I think it's because there's so much snow that there's a wetness that comes when the snow starts melting.
Right.
So in a ground nest, the snow builds up around them. We see this in the southern study area, and they're in a crater. But the nest, the bedding ends up getting wet on a big snow year. But down there, a lot of times they don't get that much snow. It may be knee deep, down around Old Town, and that's not that much. But it's not very often it's knee deep up west of Ashland.
So how do you get the collars on, and how long do they last? And
Oh, well, I didn't really answer your question. We knocked the mother out.
okay.
Yeah, we drug her.
Okay, so
you end up fooling around with a
I was about to
female
say,
cubs
I mean,
underneath it.
so you're able to walk up to the cub, who doesn't know any better, and put her on mom.
The cubs
okay.
are very easy to handle without drugs. The
Yeah.
yearlings, easy enough to handle, but you don't do it for long before you get drugged in, or else you get a lot of scars. I can show
Bite a
you
little
scars.
bit, huh?
Scratch you.
You look like
bites you,
a
yeah.
Mainer, right?
Yeah. So yeah, yearlings, we catch a lot of them by hand, or they take off running. Try to escape. We catch them because
Right.
we're putting collars on female yearlings. You want to tag them, even if they're a male. We're not putting collars on males. We're tagging them.
Still tagging them so you can track them.
Yeah, we'll see where they eventually get harvested, or they might get hit by a car or whatever. We get to see. A lot of times you see a lot of like dispersal distances.
Yeah.
I would
that'd
just
be
talk
cool.
about dispersal. The males will go about between their second year or third year, usually depending on how fast they're growing and so forth. They'll disperse away from their natal home range where they were born. Females very rarely disperse. Most females live their entire life less than 10 miles from where they were born. They do go on food sallies. That's just a trip looking for food. See if, and sometimes some females know that there are no beech nut here in this boggy country in the Penobscot lowlands, but there are beech nuts up on Joe Mary Mountain, and we can go there. It's only 50 miles. So they'll, some females will do that every fall, that there are nuts. And it's one way or another, I'm not sure that they know whether there's nuts, but they will make the same trek and then come back in the spring or come back late in the fall and den. So dispersal, females, if they meet another female, they're related to that female, they just don't know how, and don't know how, far back. If a male meets a female, they're not related to it because they never go near where they were born. So they're 15, 20, 25 miles or more, sometimes close to 50 miles from where they were born, and females have small home range and don't go that far. So whichever way they go, which is somewhat random, but they're going to be out here somewhere, and the females are all related are right here. And so there's no inbreeding. And so it takes a little while for the males to get big enough to really feel like they found home, but they also have such a huge home range. It's almost hard to know where do you call it a home range, or is this bear outside its home range, because they travel once they get big enough to actually compete for breeding rights, another social status thing. They're traveling looking for females that are in heat, and it's hard to say if that's part of the home range or or not. And then in the fall, you think the females go to food, the males go to food. They know where everything is. They know where there's 20, 30 baits. If they're an older male, they know all these baits, all this country. They know because they have huge home range.
Right.
And and remember what their job is, to go find the best food possible.
You had mentioned earlier about the trapping bear for the state of Maine and the Penobscot tribe.
Right.
What does that entail?
Well, we're really trying to catch females because that has the most value to the project. But I always say we just catch them all and sort them out later. But a lot of times we know we have a female, we'll go after them a little harder. If I only have so much time and I know I've got a female with yearlings, and over here, I'm not sure, but I think it's a solo act, it's probably a male, I'm going to put all my time into that female with yearlings. You want to get 3 or 4 traps there because you might get a double or even a triple, and yearling's 50-50, but the mom is 100%.
Right.
It's a female, it's a target. But we target the yearlings too, because 50-50 is not a bad option. Over there, you've got a single bear. Well, that might be a sub-adult female, that just isn't old enough. But early in the spring, all females that are of breeding age have either cubs or yearlings with them. So early on, when we first start trapping, any family group, we know we're onto it. We want to get onto them.
So you'll trap them and then you'll come up to them.
They're tied to a tree.
And they're not real happy, I would assume.
Not happy at all.
So you'll drug them?
Yep.
Okay. I was hoping you would say that.
Yeah, from about me to you, we have a pole. We do it, it's a syringe on the end of a pole
No
syringe.
kidding.
And it's, we use that because it's the safest way.
Yeah.
Because we can, like if you stand back, the bear doesn't get as agitated. You can say, well, that's less stress on the bear. It's true, it's less stress. But if you're doing like us, we're knocking out 120 bears this spring, okay? That's 120 chances to make a mistake.
Right.
And, if you're back there firing guns at them,
Yeah.
and that hits where it's not supposed to.
Hits them in the eye.
Yeah, or the heart. And the eye actually, they could live with one eye, but that's not what we want to do, obviously. But with a stick, you can be very precise.
Right.
And we drug most of our decent-sized bears in what we call a patch. And it's between the bicep and the tricep. There's a little groove right there, and it's a very small target, but it's very effective. And with a stick, we can hit it. I would never dare shoot at it from very far back with any projector.
So how long will they stay out?
Typically about an hour. What we use it most commonly now, and there's a lot of choices of drugs. We use a cocktail of 4 different drugs. One of those drugs you can set your clock by, where it's off in 45 minutes. One of them holds the bear a little longer, but it's at that point you don't have the pain med anymore. So your pain meds peak at, you don't need to know this, at 20 minutes. And so all the painful stuff we do right at 20, which would be pulling a tooth if we've never caught it before to find out how old it is, and putting a tattoo in. Those are both painful in the upper lip with a tattoo. So we get that out of the way, and the rest of it's painless, and just try to keep quiet.
Looking to save on utility costs? True Enterprises is a local solar installation team with over a decade of experience delivering custom energy solutions across Maine. Whether you're powering a home, business, or large-scale project, True handles everything from design and installation to long-term support. They make the process simple and the results reliable. Call today for a free estimate or visit A heartfelt thank you to Hawk's Lobster in Harpswell, Maine, for their generous contribution to this year's Lobster Bake fundraiser benefiting Pine Grove programs. Your support is greatly appreciated. I encourage everyone to support those who back Pine Grove programs. Make sure to stop by Hawk's Lobster in Harpswell, Maine. Once more, thank you guys.
Randy, you mentioned that you tattoo the inner lip and you remove a tooth. And why do you remove a tooth?
We remove a tooth to determine the age, only for bears that we didn't handle in the den as a cub or trap as a yearling, because cubs and yearlings, we know exactly when they were born, what year they're born, and so it's to get an age. So now that bear, will always know its age. The tattoo is to, in case they lose their ear tag. So there'll be a letter that corresponds to the color of the ear tag, and then the number that's on the ear tag. So males fight a lot. They're biting each other around the head a lot eventually when they get older, and they're lucky if they have ears when they're 25. So let alone ear tags. So they have a tattoo. So it's a permanent mark.
Yeah. And you'll put collars on them too sometimes when they're
On females.
on the females when they're down.
Yeah.
So, you're really talking about going to a lot of effort to, track the health and welfare and longevity of these bears. It's a lot of management. So why what's the purpose and why do we do it?
Yeah. That's a big question for a lot of people, because they say, well, bears who manage themselves very well, and I would argue that they're not better than most species. They do manage themselves a little bit. Big bears kill and eat little bears, just not very efficient at it. So in an unharvested population, what happens is starvation becomes the number one cause of death. It's pretty high right now because a lot of cubs die from malnutrition. Now, if a cub is having a hard time keeping up with the family and gets behind far enough, what they'll a lot of times do is start crying, and it sounds just like a predator call. And any predator just it's like a skinny little 6-pound cub in late May or mid-May, and they kill it. So what killed that cub? Was it a coyote? Was it the coyote that killed it?
No,
it wasn't enough milk.
Yeah.
If it had enough milk, it would have been right on mom's heels, and that coyote would never bothered it. So back to management and bears managing themselves. They don't manage themselves any more than any other wildlife species. What ends up controlling the population more than big bears eating little bears is just starvation and disease. And disease among bears that are held at a good level with the food available is almost non-existent. I mean, you would think there isn't any, but just look at populations that are too dense for too long, and you start to see some really, I think, awful diseases. Tay-Sachs is a neurological disease. They are susceptible to rabies, but you don't see much of that. Tay-Sachs is worse than rabies, I think, because it causes tremors, and eventually they can't eat or drink, and they die that way. And now a real big concern on the East Coast is mange in black bears, and I won't go into detail, but they starve to death too. They are, it's the most horrific thing you ever saw. Yeah. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, just Google black bears, pictures of black bears with mange. And it's scary. And I've only seen 3 bears in Maine with bad mange, but they were compromised. The mom had a broken back. She lived along the interstate. We assumed she got hit by a car, and she'd been dragging her back in for quite a while, and her 2 cubs stayed with her because they need to, and so all 3 of them had terrible mange, almost no hair. And the mom died, and the male cub died, but the female cub pulled through. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
I mean,
But for
most
the health of
people
the
would-
herd, I
yeah,
mean, it's
most people would say that's an undesirable outcome.
sure.
If I had a back pasture that had fenced in, that provided enough food for 100 cows, and I had a bull in there, and we had calves every spring, and after a couple years I had 150 cows in there, cows would start dying of disease and starvation. I'd probably get arrested for animal cruelty. However, a lot of the same people that would hate to have a farmer treat their cattle that way want us to treat bears that way, and to make or any animal. I mean, this is why, in the absence of wolves, why you really should, I think, kill deer and moose and to keep them in balance with the habitat. And people say, well, bring wolves. Yeah, there used to be wolves, and they used to kill bears some too. But I don't think that would work. I think in the end, you would have a lot of starvation, particularly of cubs, but also adults. In 1995, we had adults dying of starvation, that drought year, which you may not remember, Brett. Bob probably does. And almost all the cubs died. Some of them made it to the den and died before June 1st because the food doesn't get real good right as soon as they come out of the den.
Well, I think that's one of the big issues is managing the herd to health, to maintain the health.
Totally. And a healthy population behaves itself well.
Right.
So we don't manage completely to avoid conflicts because we're put up with a certain amount of conflict.
Sure.
But it's there. It's part of it. It's a
But,
component.
I grew up in New Jersey, and hunting.
Good place. Yeah. Good place. Yeah.
And I don't have a hunting heritage.
Yeah.
It's and hunters, you're just going out there, you're killing deer, you're killing bear. And what a lot of folks don't really appreciate is the conservation aspect and the biological aspect where you're actually helping the herd and improving a quality of life. And really with overpopulation, that biggest threat that you talked about was disease.
Yes. Yeah.
These things are, really held in check through all the work that you and other biologists do.
Totally.
With master guides like Bob and Wyatt who get out there and are part of the responsible harvesting of the herds. And
If we don't manage them.
What's that?
If we don't manage them, Mother
Right.
Nature is going to.
Right.
She isn't always the most gentle on them. Because,
That's a
like
great-
Randy said, if they
Yeah.
get sick, that eventually the numbers get so high, she's going to take control again.
Sure.
And she's going to eliminate them.
Yeah.
And if you hunt them, well, this guy here made a living, that one makes a living, and a taxidermist makes a living. Everybody, and they come here in the state of Maine and they buy a license, and
Yep.
it works out. So these gentlemen
It's
allowed
a big
all
ecosystem that's being managed.
Right, exactly.
Is really what it is.
Yeah.
So, Randy, I got to ask, what crazy bear story? What's the
Boy.
craziest bear story that you have?
Oh man, it's probably like 500.
We got time.
I don't know if you really do. I tend not to be succinct enough. I will say this is off. I can always circle around, but I will say my first introduction to what real conflict problems was back in 2001. And it was just before New Jersey had their first hunt, I think, or maybe 2001 was the first hunt. But it was either, I think it was 03.
Up in the Northwest.
Yeah, I think it was in 03. But it was in court forever, and
Yes.
some years they hunt and some years they couldn't. But they had, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. So this would not be tolerated in Maine, but they had 69 occupied home entries the year before.
Yeah.
Went to a meeting. And I'm like, that's like, oh no, that's not counting if you're away from home. That means people were home.
Yeah.
And the bear broke through and actually entered the house. Just trying to get in doesn't count. going into a house where nobody's home doesn't count. Their highest thing is entering a home with people inside the home.
These are big bear too.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're accepting that level. I mean, they have to because politically they couldn't get a
They
hunt.
couldn't get the hunt
Yeah.
to keep it in
I
balance.
mean, that just shocked the heck out of me.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't know what a house looks like after a bear's been in. When you go in a camp that a bear's been in, when you come back, you can say, this ain't going to happen again. We're going to do something different.
yeah,
Yeah, I was driving back from Carlisle, PA, to Maine. We just done an Army course, and we're driving back, and we're coming up through the highway, and right out from the side of the road, on a screech, comes this huge bear. I mean, it was huge, and it ran right onto the highway, right into the side of a van in front of us, knocked it into the other lane, and the door was all, as we would say in Maine, stoved in.
Right.
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 And it disabled that car, and then it got up and ran back into the woods. I mean, but they were some big bear down in that area.
a woman in a small car in Manitoba. I remember talking to biologists there, because we don't usually. I knew all the northeastern states. There were 16 jurisdictions that we met every 2 years, and I would count all those people as friends. But every 4 years, we would sometimes meet with some of the west of Ontario, and in Manitoba, the biologist was talking about this really big bear. I think weighed around 800 pounds, but it was a somewhat small car that hit it. But when it went down, the car somehow rode up on top of it. Of course, this big bear in this little car wasn't that much heavier than the bear. The woman was all shook up, was in an accident. All of a sudden, the car starts moving. The bear's underneath the car and lifting the car up and walking towards the ditch. And the bear squirmed out from under the car and took off into the woods. And as far as anybody knows, survived it. But that's a crazy bear story. And
It sure is.
And the other thing is, New Jersey was always our best example. I'm not picking on New Jersey because
enough people do for enough reasons.
oh yes, of course. And there's there's a couple biologists I know very well there, and I count them all as friends. And one of them almost got blown up once from an anti-hunter. I can't remember exactly what happened, something mechanically. Unfortunately, he decided to go straight to the garage, and the guy said, another 5 minutes. So that's bad. But also that same biologist, who's now retired, and I won't name him, had to investigate the mortality, the fatal bear attack on a college kid, which happened just before the vote on the referendum in 2014.
Oh my goodness.
And I was most proud of the department that they didn't use that incident
to politicize it.
Nobody know you guys know that happened, right?
No.
Right.
And this college kid, and his brother was in the group, and he was overweight, and if they'd stuck together, it would never happen. They went to see the bear because somebody says a bear, to take pictures. Anyway, you don't need to know the details, but the brother and the rest of them ran off, and the heavier guy, the kid, was a college kid, ended up a long, drawn-out battle, but the bear killed him and was eating him when my friend had to investigate. Determine that was indeed killed by a bear.
Wow. But I mean, I've always heard most of the bear in Maine will stay away from you.
In Maine, as I said before, very well behaved, and for good reason. And that's one reason why you manage them. At a very high density, they're not as well behaved. They do things that they wouldn't normally do.
Right.
And they may be coming to eat your dog, and you don't think that's a good idea, and they may decide if they have to kill you to get to the dog, they'll do that. But
because they're hungry.
They're fatal black bear attacks all across the country. They're
interesting,
near fatal. 3 of them in 1 year in Florida. Florida has a season now. You don't have a season in places like that. And I'm not picking on Florida. It's just it's a political environment where they've never been able to hunt bears for 65 years. and they have a season now. And part of the reason they're lucky they didn't have 3 fatalities. There was all 3 of them could have died. All young gals.
Wow.
All 3 of them could have died.
And they got some big bears.
They do, and
got some
New
big
Jersey, and
Yep.
Yeah.
yep, and it's 35 years without hunting in New Jersey that caused a lot of the problem with bears wrestling in the driveway and knocking the mailboxes
Yeah.
over.
No, this is true.
yeah.
Yeah.
And swimming in swimming pools and all that. Our bears don't do that, and we have a lot more bears.
Right.
But and the interface of bears, we're lucky that most of our people live where there are less bears. There's more bears up north where almost nobody lives, and so that helps.
You know, we'd like to thank you.
Oh yeah, well,
Well, you don't know how many lives you've saved. I know you don't realize this, but as a not-for-profit, we bring veterans bear hunting every year,
right.
every week, and we put it out that we are offering 5 bear hunts this week for any veteran, policeman, fireman. We will get hundreds of applicants
Oh, of course, yeah,
that want to go.
yeah.
Well, we picked them, we put it in a thing, and we roll it, draw our name out. Well, them guys that get drawn will start calling 4 or 5 months before every week. They want to know, what are the bears doing? How many are you seeing?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
they just want to
And
talk
Bob's
about
up
it.
in trees,
Yeah.
just looking
You
at
know, they
them.
just
Yeah.
want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And why I'm thanking you for that, because they are doing this, looking forward to it for
Totally.
a whole year,
Totally get it. I get
not
it 100%.
doing bad things.
Yeah, that's right.
And we have like 22 a day doing bad things.
That's
Well-
right. They're fighting a lot of.
And it's not just us, it's all there's other programs that do this too.
Right.
And we're all helping. There's plenty of people to help. There's no shortage.
Yeah.
And so we thank you, and we thank the state of
Yeah.
Maine for hiring you and having you do this. And
Appreciate it.
you've saved lots of lives, even
well-
though it wasn't, you don't really realize it.
You bet. And
Yeah.
that's the very reason why I came.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Is I shouldn't say it's the only reason, because I do like talking about bears, but it's because of what you do.
Well,
that
thank you.
I feel like I admire what you do and keep it up.
Yeah.
That means a lot to a lot of people. I just got done trapping beavers, and we don't trap very hard. We This camping trip, but a bunch of friends used to trap bears together, and I look forward to. I'm just finished, and I'm looking forward to next spring.
Yeah.
And I get more out of looking forward to it. And sometimes some things I look forward to and never happens because something happens in between. I can't. But I know totally. And these people are fighting some demons. All of them have.
Sure.
Everybody has their struggles, no doubt.
Everybody here is all on the board.
Yeah.
Tim's the president, Andy is, everybody, Wyatt is, and everybody here is all
Yeah.
related to helping these folks.
Yep.
We don't have an agenda. Nobody here gets paid. It only costs us.
It only costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll make a pitch. I mean, we don't send people on bear hunts
No.
for no cost to us.
It costs
I mean,
money.
it's no cost to the individual, but we do have to raise the money. So,
Yeah.
anybody who's watching, understand that everything that we do costs money. We make a dime go a dollar around here, but we're benefiting hundreds of law enforcement, first responders, and veterans every year that really need a break from the day to day. So, but we really thank you for what you've done with the bear herd, so to speak.
Well,
I
you're
guess
very
is that
welcome.
what you call it, a bear herd?
Well, we don't usually call them a herd. That's more of a servant thing, but population.
A population. I mean, because it really is, as Bob said, frankly, the biggest draw that we have. I
Yeah.
mean, people.
And you harvest very few bears for
Yeah.
all the good that you get from
Yes.
people
Yeah.
actually watching bears, or like a family group of bears. It's like
Yeah.
Walt Disney on steroids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, as Bob says, it's not about the killing; it's about the adventure and
Totally.
and just doing it, and then the stories you have for life. So
Sitting in a ground blind in the North Woods,
yeah,
it's getting dark.
Yeah.
That's something, you
It's
know,
something.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
so much, quite as much for some of us.
Maine Knows How is brought to you by Modern Woodmen of America, a member-owned fraternal financial services organization since 1883, and by Pine Grove Programs, supporting veterans, first responders, and law enforcement by providing free outdoor opportunities to those who serve, have served, and their families.
Well, Randy, it's always awesome to talk to somebody who is so enthusiastic about what they've done with their career. Your knowledge of bear has just been enlightening to all of us.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and again, there's so much that people can just find out Googling, but some of the more intimate stuff that you shared with us was really great to learn about bear. I mean, when I thought of a den, I always just thought of it as a little cave type of thing. So, I mean, really helped give us a little bit more idea of bear in Maine, and we just really appreciate your time. Thank you.
You bet. My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to ask you one thing.
Okay.
The myth is that bears hunt lamb deer, young deer. I didn't really want to ask you on while we were talking because I didn't know how much shit would raise.
They absolutely do.
They
Yeah.
do. We know that.
Yeah.
But how much do they really do? It's a lot of myth.
They opportunistic. They
Sure
happen
they are.
upon them. I could eat 2 fawns a year just tending my bear traps.
Right.
And you know, I'm driving the truck a lot of times,
Yeah,
which probably
sure.
covering more ground. But when you see the fawn go like this, and dive into the grass and stop, you just go over and pick them up.
Right.
But you know, the bears do, and in the 2 studies, and both very relevant to Maine, but not done in Maine. Both studies were very similar, so close, uncanny. And one was New Brunswick, which couldn't be much closer, and I think
Right.
the other was Minnesota. But I'm not sure about that anymore. But it was a state with similar habitat
Right.
and bear density even. And they found that bears took about the same number of deer fawns as coyotes did. And most people would think coyotes,
Yeah.
because that's
Far
kind of
and
their MO, you
Right.
know, would be higher. But in both cases, it was neck and neck. It was almost insignificant, the difference, the amount that coyotes killed and the amount that bears killed. And I'll
Interesting.
tell you the biggest reason why I think bears do keep up. This is kind of interesting with coyotes is they have a different technique because they also kill moose calves.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But what the cow moose is much better at defending
Right.
than a deer, a doe. To defend a fawn is like useless because if they try to defend a fawn, most bears would just kill the doe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen. But there was a study in Western population where in the West, commonly it's more open habitat and you can actually observe a lot more. They observed the black bears, they call them midwives, but they observed black bears that figured out that they could smell when a cow was about to give birth. Usually it happens in the middle of May roughly, but they would start following a cow, and because they have tremendous sense of smell, it's just like off the charts. And when she gives birth, they're right there.
They're right
Bang,
there.
They've got it.
Yeah.
Whether or not they do that with deer, nobody knows. And I think they would know if they did it a lot.
Right.
I think people know. I think they just happen that, there's enough bears and enough deer, there's enough
There's gonna
fawns,
be
they're going to be
overlap.
a certain amount get caught because they're so easy to catch
Right.
for a couple weeks,
Yep.
So
Yep.
right after birth.
We know we're going to lose some.
Yeah. The problem with the moose calf estimate, like the way Lee's doing it, he would miss most of the bear mortality. And as far as I know, he's never seen or never been able to say that he had a bear kill. There might be a calf that they saw that didn't show up. They don't know what happened to it.
Right.
So, but I think he would miss a lot of it anyway, because the first time they go in to count to see if the calves, if there's one or two, and there's no calf there, the bear may have already got the calf.
Right.
They drop them, it's part of their strategy is to drop them close to the same time, and all of them are dropping at once.
Exactly.
But anyway, there's enough anecdotal evidence that bears do kill moose calves. That's undeniable. We've got actual scientific evidence that they kill deer fawns.
Yeah. I think that moose calf would, a cow would defend that
Okay.
calf. Those freaking feet are.
They totally do. And I've seen video of the cow chasing the bear. Bears are sharp about it.
Right.
They'll run, they'll circle around.
Right.
They're pretty quick.
Yeah.
And they'll come around, and eventually the cow would be just out of position enough, bear and kill the calf so
In a
quick.
second, right.
Yeah.
And then leave
And
it.
then just leave.
Right.
Its
Because-
job
yeah.
is done.
Yeah.
He's running.
Um,
He's gonna get the babies, John. Oh no. I think so. I think so. Oh my God. How close is he, John? How close is he?
He's real close. He's getting closer.
What's she doing?
She sees him. Here she comes.
Oh my God. Oh, he's gonna get the babies.
Now the babies are on the inside.
Quiet. Let nature take its course. Two what?
He's heading for him now. He's heading for him.
Oh my God. Where are the babies?
Oh, there he goes. He's going right after him.
Oh no!
Did he get it?
Yes! Where's the mother?
She's standing right there watching.
No! I can't hold still. Oh my God. Oh my God. Where's the mother?
Walking into the woods.
Oh my God. He's dragging the freaking baby. Oh my God.
You can see that
Yes.
he's got the baby?
Yes.
There's two of them.
Yes. He's got one.
Well, one of them was really lagging
Oh.
when they were walking.
Oh.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh my
There goes
God.
Mama.
Oh. I can't believe it.
And I don't know what year it was. It was in the 80s. Kim Morse was the bear moose biologist at the time, and she was asking people to bring in whole dead moose. This is before the ticks were really killing them. But whenever anybody had a roadkill or dead moose, which there were some, brain worm and probably tick deaths or whatever, but she'd have them bring in, but she didn't know what to do with all these moose. So she would, so I would get them for bear bait. You know,
Right.
I would put them out and attract attention. So there was 2 cows that spring, and I don't know how many animals she got. Both of these cows were standing beside the road, trying to breathe, sure to die. Wardens shot both of these cows. Both of these cows had bear claw marks along both sides and broken ribs and bite marks.
Yeah.
Both of these cows were lactating.
Yeah.
So you can join the
Yeah.
what's
there
going
was
on
something
there.
there.
Yeah. So that's just 2 cows
Right.
that I know would have ended up dying trying to defend their calf. My guess it was a very large bear, because I don't think 180 or 220 pound bear
No, no.
is going
600
to
pound.
kill an adult by pounding them so bad that they punctured their lungs and they can't breathe anymore.
I've been baiting coyotes, like Jerry, I baited coyotes. And
Yeah.
in 25 years of baiting coyotes, I've had 4 pictures of bears on my
Yeah.
coyote baits.
No kidding.
Yeah, in March.
In March.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in March and April.
Just getting going early.
Yep. Boys
That's really
were out.
early though.
Yep.
You know, I don't. I mean, even they get out of the dens, but they don't really move a lot.
Right.
And not, you know,
Yep.
it usually, like around here, you be somewhere in between. But when you get up country like our study area,
Right.
they come out around the middle of April. I tell people April 13th because and they'll come out about then on 5 feet of snow with crust on top and roll around and go just pull some, eat some buds. And
Yep.
they just move around a little bit, but not move very much. Just
No.
go make a little bed, you know, bird's nest in the sun.
Yep.
But, or they'll come out on bare ground, but it could be bare ground in late March and they're still in their dens
Right.
typically, at least the ones with cubs for sure.
Yep.
And those are the ones that we're actually visiting at
Right.
that time. But so the ones with cubs will wait till about the middle of April regardless. But just because there's a lot of snow doesn't mean they don't come out. They
Right.
still come out, but they don't really get eating a lot. I mean, we don't really get catching them until like sometimes early. Like we used to start May 1st. We'd have a pretty good line out for any black flies were out. But even before we had bear hips, we don't do it that way anymore. But we still wouldn't catch a bear. Usually about May 8th or May 9th, we'd get our first one.
Yeah.
And it would really pick up fast
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
So really slow, low activity prior to that.
You know, over the years, I started putting the camera on a bait,
Yeah.
and I'd get pictures of bears.
Yeah.
But then I started putting 2 other cameras facing opposite directions, 25 to 50 yards away from the bait.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of big bears would circle that bait. They'd never go to near that bait.
They're interested in who else is
Who's
eating it,
there.
maybe.
Yeah.
They're very interested in each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if there's a scent mark tree,
Yep.
and when we catch a bear, it looks like the mother of all scent mark trees. It's all chewed up usually.
Sure.
And that attracts more bears than the bait.
Right.
They have to go see. Everybody wants to see who is there. It's like everybody writes their name on the outhouse wall.
Yep,
And-
exactly.
But every bear's got to go sniff that and mark it.
Yep.
And so they all know I'm
They rub
here.
on them.
Yep. Back rub.
Yeah.
They head rub a lot, which when they head rub, they don't bite the tree. So there's no mark. It's just scent.
Yep.
And they do that a lot.
But Randy, we thank you for your time that you've given us today and for what you've given us over the past 40 years. So we really want to thank you for everything.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
I appreciate it.
Well, you're
Thank
more
you.
than welcome.
We'll be back soon. Thank you.
Maine knows how.